Hey, it's Big Daddy Tazz here to talk to you about mental health, which is something that I'm pretty good at. Living with it and ignoring it, and then mostly dealing with it, I suppose. A little bit about myself. I have ADD, attention deficit disorder. I can't just say ADD because during a TV taping a number of years ago, a lady yelled out, "That's an alarm system!" And I said, "No, that's ADT." She goes, "What's the difference?" Huge. You don't want attention deficit disorder alarms. Let me make that completely straight with you. Well, there's somebody in my house who's got a knife. I got a blue bike. Ugh. And my boy has attention deficit disorder as well, so I had to have a meeting with his teacher. And his teacher was not the nicest person in the world. I think the reason she was a teacher is because the job of the devil was already taken, if you know what I mean. So I went and talked to her. I walked in and I said, "Hey, how are you?" And she's right away, "Your son has attention deficit disorder. Do you know what that means? La, 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 la." And then something about hereditary. I don't know. I wasn't listening, right? The blind was open. I was looking out the window going, "Oh, that's a nice day. I wish I was outside." Now I remember to say this in my head, right? Outside, a nice day. What's going on? There's a tractor outside. Why is your tractor outside? I don't know. There's a tractor outside. There's a tractor. It's not a farm school. It's a regular school. Look at that. Oh my gosh. There's a squirrel. Look at the squirrel. The squirrel looks like he's trying to drive the tractor, but he can't drive the tractor because his legs are too short. And anybody who was driving the tractor, you'd have to have an orange vest with a yellow X on it. If he had a yellow X on his vest, and they'd have a white hard hat. And if he had a white hard hat, he wouldn't be, driving the tractor. He'd be asleep in the truck because he's a foreman. And then I looked over at the teacher, and she was just staring at me, and she was giving me the look that I now know means, "I know why your children are the way they are." So that's, and you know what she said to me about my son, and I'd heard it a lot, that she didn't think that anybody that had attention deficit disorder was worth giving the extra attention to because they're not going to amount to much in life. And I looked right at her and I said, "You have a really shiny watch." And I got a blue bike. So I have attention deficit disorder, as you can tell by that little rant right there. I have OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and you'd think they would cancel each other out, ADD and OCD, but they don't. And here's a little tidbit. The Obsessive Compulsive Disorders Association of Manitoba isn't open regular hours. How frustrating is that? I also have social anxiety, which means I'm terrified to be in front of people, so I'm kind of happy to be doing this video. And the only problem with this video is that I'm recording it and I can see myself, and I'm highly critical of, me mostly. And I have anxiety, through the roof anxiety, especially lately. It's been through the roof. A little bit about anxiety. Anxiety is like... it's a thief, right? It's a thief and a liar. That's what anxiety is, and what it'll do is it'll steal your happiness. Anxiety, if you let it grow, it'll steal your happiness. It'll steal your sense of well-being. It'll steal your purpose. It'll steal hours out of your day, and it makes you feel unloved. It's a liar too, right? It makes you feel unloved or unlovable, and so you get the anxiety. And the worst is going to happen. Everything's going to be, one drop of rain turns into a flood. Yeah, so that's anxiety is terrible, and it blinds you. It really does, right? The anxiety will grow inside you, and it'll blind you and make you think that things are so much worse than they are, and it'll make you forget what's right in front of you, what is right in front of you, which it's terrible. It's a terrible thing, anxiety, and along with that comes the depression. Boom, right? And is such a hard thing to do, and then you get mad at yourself for being depressed, and then you get mad at yourself for wasting the time with depression, and then you just keep piling the stuff on yourself. You see, we have this little gremlin that lives inside of us that feeds off of all the negative stuff that's happened in our lives, all the stuff that people have said to you and about you, and all the bad choices you've made, or the hearts that you've broken, or the anger you've had, and it just feeds and gets bigger and bigger and bigger in your body, and it takes over, and that's all you can think about is the thing you've done wrong, or what's going to happen that you've done wrong, and that you're worthless and useless. And it's just a bunch of crap, to be honest with you, right? See, here's what I found. See, I'm not a doctor or anything. I've lived many years with my with my mental illnesses, and here's what I found out. I'm not the brightest cat in the world, right? But I really know myself now. I'm 52 years old, and it took me until my 50th birthday to realize I love myself. And it was hard for me to admit that. But I do. I kind of love myself. I love my ability to make people laugh, and I love my ability to make people think and have tears, and I love my ability now to be open about who I am. And one thing I learned, and it took a long time, by the way, for me to be open about it, because men are born with this little magic wand kind of between our legs that means that we don't need to ask for help, because we're the rock, and we're all that stuff that has been taught to us over the years by other generations of males to say, you can't have emotions, you can't have tears, you're not a man if you cry. And I cry a lot, and sometimes it's my depression, and sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's my empathy, sometimes it's somebody doing really well on one of the reality shows, like, America's Got Talent. You see somebody, I got tears there. Or sometimes it's a puppy, right? It just is what it is. And lots of the times, it's just my chemicals in my brain kind of all whacked and not working properly. And that's what I've learned, is that, your brain and your soul and your heart will gorge itself on whatever you feed it. Right? If you feed it sunshine and love and exercise and self-adulation, you're going to radiate that, and you're going to give it back to the universe. You're going to give it back to the people around you. But if you feed it self-anger and self-hate and stuff like that, it's just going to be the same thing. It's going to be, you're just going to radiate that thing. So I try very hard to find the joy. And I think that's what I'm trying to do in the last little bit, especially with this COVID, is I'm trying to find my joy in every situation. I know it sounds very maybe cliche, or you can't do it, but you have to find the joy. And I've done that by reading to kids. I've started reading to little kids and adults, it turns out. So the kids inside of us, I suppose, every day at 10:30 in the morning on my Facebook page, and 7:30 at night, almost every night. And I've read like almost 180 books. Tonight will be 180 books, actually. And I'll tell you, I also have been doing these little drive-bys with, that sounds bad, hey? If I didn't say it was, I'm doing drive-bys. I'm doing these birthday drive-bys, I guess they call them. Birthday parade, I guess, is a better choice of words. And what I'm doing is getting in, I have a bright pink Jeep, that's the anti-bully machine. And we drive by these little kids' houses that are having birthdays that, 3 months ago, I would have been no problem. Birthday cake, balloons, friends, and party games, and somebody laughing until cake comes out his nose, and somebody else, being a bit goofy like I am. But now we can't. And I'll tell you something. I've been blessed enough to have these people reach out and say, "Hey, would you mind coming by and bringing the Jeep by and just waving and singing happy birthday and things like that." And sometimes I dress like a dragon for the kids and things like that. But I'll tell you something that's really hilarious is that I was dressed like a dragon and to read to the kids, and then I had a video, a very important video, staunch interview straight after, and I get on, and there's like 12 or 15 people on this Zoom call. And I get on, and there are, all the pictures are there, and mine's up in the corner, a little picture, and they're all sort of looking at me like maybe they're pigeons or giving me one of these. And I look at me, and I'm still in my dragon costume. So I made a joke, and I just said, "Well, it's because I've been having I was dragging my ass out of bed to come and visit you guys. That's what I was doing." Sorry, that's my ADD. Take it over. So I'm driving by this little boy's place called Grayson, and I drive up in the Jeep, and he's there outside, and I honk and I wave, and he loses his mind. "That's Tazzy. He just read to me. He sang me happy birthday. Tazzy's here. Tazzy's here." And then about 10 minutes later, I'm down the street and up, maybe 5 or 8 blocks away was another little boy named Spencer. And Spencer he's in his little baby shark costume, right? And he looks at me, and he's nonverbal. He doesn't talk, and he's like, "Taz, Taz," and he's blowing me kisses. And his mom said, that she sent me a message later saying that Spencer did nothing but blow kisses to you when you left, and he was just beaming. And I'll tell you what, you can write me a check for any amount in the world that you want, but nothing will fill my heart like those two boys did that day, and that memory will live in my heart forever and ever and ever. So it's about finding your joy. And reaching out. Don't be afraid. Reach out and ask for help when you need help. And reach out to those around you that you know need help, right? That's the most important thing to me, is to reach out to the people that are sequestered by themselves. I'm talking longer than I should be, and I'll just tell you the thing that I use. I use for to help my brain and stuff, I use liquid vitamin D, liquid vitamin B, and liquid omega-3. I also have a list of 5 names, and I encourage you to take 5 names and write them down, put them in your phone, and they're your go-to list. 5 names of people that you know love you unconditionally and are going to listen. Going to listen to you. You see, we as a society have lost the ability to listen, and a lot of people just wait for their turn to talk. No, it's find people that are going to listen. The type of people that when you're done talking, you're not sure if they're still there because it's quiet on the end of the phone. You know, my sister the other day said, "Tazzy, I love you so much because you're such a good listener." And I didn't have the heart to tell you that I had ADD, and I was just doodling on. I was lost in my own thoughts. I was still listening, but I was lost in my own thoughts. But and write those names down and keep them with you. And when you get depressed or you get anxious, or when you just need to talk, you reach out to those 5 people. And find your joy. I know I've said that many times. Because the bottom line is it's going to be up to you to reach out. And you're going to need to be your own best advocate. And you're going to need to do a lot of things for yourself. And it's hard. I'm not going to lie to you. It's very hard. It took me many years to get to where I am. And then you know what? I was reading this book the other day, Oh, the Places You'll Go by Dr. Seuss. And I'm going to read you a little passage, and then I'm going to let you go. It's by Dr. Seuss here. It says, "You have brains in your head, you have feet on your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You are the one. You're on your own. And you know what you know. And you are the guy who will decide where to go. You'll look up and down the streets. You look them over with care. And some you will say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not so good street." Choose your path. Ask people to help you if you can't find your path. And love yourself. That's the hardest thing ever, is to love yourself. But I'm going to send you tons of my love, and hopefully you can send tons of love your others' ways as well. Keep peaceful, and just be happy. Lots of love.